Hello,
So
hello,
bougie.
everybody. Welcome. I have Brooke sitting on the floor putting labels on whatnot sales right now. She's packing them. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I am joined by Rod, and I'm just going to start the show off and say this, guys. Julian has stepped down as co-host. He has a lot going on. He gave me 2 years, and we had a great run. But he has asked to step down. So I asked Rod, who is next to me, to take his place. So Rod Picking and Punching will be our new co-host. So everybody say hi to Rod. Check out his channel if you haven't. And I think Richard will be dropping some links for him too. So no hard feelings between me and Julian. I didn't fire him. He's traveling all over with his wife and just has a lot going on. And so he said he needed to step down, which I am okay with. So to break that where everybody knows and get it out of the way. And we are joined tonight with Misty below me, who is ThrifterJunkerVintageHunter, and Michael from the Cult of Vintage. So we are happy to have them on. I think, Rod, for maybe like the next few times, maybe the rest of the year, I'll let you introduce yourself just because you're new and we might have more people coming in until they kind of know who you are a little more. So we will start with Miss Misty, and everybody will introduce themselves and let you know about them.
Well, I am Misty, and I'm ThrifterJunkerVintageHunter, and I'm a vintage reseller. I sell vintage on both my YouTube channel, whatnot, and very minimal on eBay. Not a lot on eBay, but I've been doing reselling online for I've been selling online for about 20 years, but doing the live sales for about the past 4 years.
Perfect. Here's Michael.
I'm usually more prepared. Let me back up. But hey, it's Michael Todd. Of course, I am the Cult of Vintage. I've been putting out YouTube content now for about 2 years. It's all vintage and antique, sourcing, whether that's antique malls, yard sales, flea markets, thrift stores. And then I do have 2 weekly live sales. One is every Tuesday with Misty, and I do a solo sale utilizing YouTube, going YouTube live. And that is Wednesdays at 1 p.m. So, yeah. Thank you, Kat, for having us on, by the way.
Thank you for coming on. All right,
Our
here is
pleasure.
Rod.
Hey everybody, so those that don't know, I'm actually an independent professional wrestler. I'm also a full-time reseller. I've been actually reselling on eBay since 1999, so 20 plus years. I have a YouTube channel where I mostly go to yard sales, thrifting, and flea markets, and I film all my finds, show you guys what is selling, give you guys a lot of good tips. Also, you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at Picking and Punching, and I'm here to help out and answer any questions you guys may have.
Perfect.
I have a question. Is that an original Return of the Living Dead poster back there?
It's actually a remake. I actually went to art convention, so I used to get a lot of the remakes done so I can get them autographed for the conventions. So
I love
nice.
Yeah, I'm a big horror movie fan, so you'll see like a lot of stuff back there.
One of the best soundtracks
up here and everything else. So
perfect. All right, Miss Eileen wants to know, how do you know how much you initially paid for an item? Where do you jot this information down?
I don't. I mean, I keep all my receipts.
Right.
But my account, I just keep track of what I bring in each month and what I spend each month. I don't itemize every single thing that I buy. When you're buying a lot of things each month, it's kind of impossible to do that unless you are a really good note taker, which I am not. So I think the best thing to do is talk to your CPA or talk to your accountant and see how they would like you to keep track of your itemization.
I'm the same. I don't itemize. If I'm looking at an item that I'm selling, I probably can remember how much I paid for it. But when it comes specifically to taxes, I just do a total monthly spend, total monthly income, and I do that on the initial. And when I submit it to the accountant, I give them that information. But I haven't experienced where they need line items unless there's some huge discrepancies. So again, I don't write it down. I don't have a ledger. I just compile the receipts throughout the course of the month, literally put it in an envelope, write down total spend, write down total sales. And of course, I take out like all of like the shipping packing materials and all of those things, all of that's done. And then I just give it to the accountant and they work their magic.
Like George's response. Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up. Yeah, after.
So for me personally, so I don't keep track of everything. I mean, I just do a big overall number of what I have. But if you're actually talking about for your listings, because I know some people actually put in the custom SKU so they know what they actually paid for the item. So that way, if you do need to discount it or if someone sends you an offer, you know how much wiggle room you do have. I see people actually put parentheses actually in the descriptions as well, just so they actually have just like a hidden somewhere in the description, so they know, you know, what number they're actually working with. So there's different ways you can do that depending on what you're actually using the information for.
Yeah, and I do money in, money out too, as far as accounting. So it's just how much I spent versus how much I made. I do a lot of what sold videos, and most of my stuff, if you watch my what sold, it came in a lot. So like I got 1,100 license plates. I know I paid $1 each. I got 100 Longaberger. I paid $8 each. So a lot of my stuff's lots, so it's easier to remember, and I don't write it down anywhere. So I'm going from memory, and I know like the most that I would pay for an item if I was outsourcing. So sometimes I might actually tell you a little bit more than I actually paid. But I'll tell you the highest that I know I would pay. But I'd say 75% of my stuff is from lots where I got like 100 plus items for the same cost. So it's easy for me to remember. And I'm going to put George's response up. George keeps track of every item. So he does itemize, but he said then his bookkeeper ignores it and figures out his inventory in some way the IRS likes that he doesn't understand. So having a bookkeeper is one of my favorite things. My accountant is my bookkeeper. Mine's super complicated. And we decided to do money in, money out versus itemizing and doing inventory just because it is easier to do.
Yeah.
All right. What's next? Let's see. Miss Deborah said many sellers are saying yesterday was the last day to ship and have the item arrive by Christmas. Why? eBay and USPS both say the 17th. I want to just interject because I heard the 12th. I never looked for it in writing, but maybe it's the 12th for first class. That's very possible. It's 12th for first class. Yeah, maybe.
You know here's the thing though, too. I mean, we can hope and pray that things are going to get someplace, you know, get to their destination by Christmas. But we all know that there are delays and, you know, so I think at this point in time, we can't, I even hate to say that I guarantee it'll be there by Christmas because, I mean, once it leaves our hands and it's in the postal service or UPS or FedEx, we don't have any control over that. So things like I hate to say you're guaranteed going to get there by Christmas because it may not, you know. Yeah. So at this point, it's a little dicey, I think.
I think it's just the guideline at the end of the day. Oh, Kat, why do you keep doing it to me?
I didn't do that. Ron, did you make it big? That was kind of funny.
On it.
I love
I'm glad I trimmed my nose hair today. Jeez.
Sorry about that.
That's great.
I knew. I was like, yeah, get in there. What were we saying? I think it's just a guideline. They can't guarantee it. We can't guarantee it. Yeah. So even though they say the deadline is the 17th, they still can't even guarantee it. It's just better odds at the end of the day. So you could say something's going to get there in 7 and it gets there in 3 days. Hey, great. It's supposed to get there in 3 days and it takes 16. So you just never know.
Yeah. Same thing they said. Overall, it's just a guideline. And depending on if you're shipping FedEx in your own states, it's going to get there the next day. If you're shipping priority mail, you're looking 3 to 4 business days. So it's really going to vary what items you're shipping. I think it's just an overall guideline just to be safe so you don't have a lot of angry customers.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. For Michael and Misty, in a live sale, what is the highest profit item you sold and what was your original cost on the item?
Oh, Lord.
I know what mine is.
Oh, go ahead, because
No, you're in the hot seat. You wanted in the hot seat. She was so sure she wanted in the hot seat. You were in the hot seat.
I don't know. I keep going. This wasn't from a live sale, though. I mean, the thing that I keep thinking back are those Nora Fleming little plate charm things that I got in a grab bag. I got like a dozen of them in a grab bag at Goodwill for like $3.99. And then I sold them individually for a couple of them for about $1,000. So
I remember coming across those in one of my research videos, and I was like, "What the heck is this thing?" And it was Nora Fleming.
And it's there are certain ones that her original ones that have the N and the F, and so that's the thing that I keep going. That to me, I think, is my highest profit, because initially I probably paid like not even $1 a piece for them, and sold them several of them for $1,000 each. So that was probably mine.
The highest profit item that I ever sold, it's vintage, but it was an 80s pottery company by the name of Jaru, Jaru. Very modernistic, very angular. And it was a ram. It was this burgundy colored ram. I saw it. I thought it was really cool. I initially thought that it was a hobbyist piece, and then somebody saw it in the video and was like, no, that should have a signature. And if it is, those are really collectible. Sure enough, it did have the signature that I didn't even see. Ended up selling it. I bought it for $4 and I sold it for, I believe the exact total was $421.
Yeah. And you learn something from it. I mean, you learn
Yeah.
that's the kind of the cool thing when you sell something, you're like, wait, what? And then you're like, oh, and it piques that interest to look forward to.
I had one on Whatnot, and I don't know if she's in here. And it was assigned, it was like Save the Ocean. And I sold it for $8. And then they came back in chat and said, that was so-and-so, and that pendant's worth $150. And I mean, I don't look stuff up on Whatnot on purpose, because I start it close to what I pay. But she got like a great deal, because nobody else in the chat knew either, obviously, because it only went for $8 and was worth like $150. But I was glad it was like a regular viewer. That made me happy that it wasn't somebody I didn't know. But yeah,
I think sometimes
Deborah Holcomb wants to know if we send offers, and if so, do you send a % or a dollar amount?
I send dollar amount
On eBay.
On eBay,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I send dollar amounts.
Yeah, I didn't know dollars. I didn't know you could do a %.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can do a %. Oh, if you're selling the item, yeah, dollars. I think it's easier instead of having people do the math. But I think eBay does, like if you do $1 off, it tells them what the % is, and if you do the %, it's telling them what the dollar is. So
Yeah,
I think it's just a pick your poison.
Yeah, for me, I send offers every single day. I try to be very strategic with it too. I try to send my offers around lunchtime because people are at work and they're on the lunch break. And then I also like to send between like 7 to 8 o'clock at night, because most people are sitting home after dinner, have their cell phones in their hands.
Yeah.
So they can see those offers being sent directly to them at that peak moments or peak times. I think it's the best time to do it. And most of the time I do roughly, if it's something I just listed, maybe 5 or 10%. If it's something that I had up in my store for 3 to 6 months, something like that, we're looking maybe 20 to 30%, because I just want to move that item and move on.
Yeah, so I talked about it last week. I do a % depending on how long it's been listed. So if it's new under like 3 months, I do 10%. And then 3 to 6 months, I do 15% off. And then 6 months to a year, I do 20. And I actually over a year been doing 30%, because I'm like, no, I want my older inventory gone. So I don't send it from my phone anymore, because I want to be able to see the date it was listed. So on my computer, I have it sorted by like, when was the start date? And then I can send the offers according to that. Yay, 365 Vintage Hunter sent a $10 super chat. Oh man, Gino made me a new one and I forgot to upload it. I'm sorry, Gene. I forgot. He made like a cute one of like Dalton riding the dolphin. It's really cute. I'll have it next week. I forgot to upload it, man. All right, here is Gino's last invention. Here's Gino's other super chat he made for me. Thank you so much, 365 Vintage Hunter. Yes, you have to dance. See, we can see you backstage. I have to dance to it too.
I was dancing.
I wasn't. I'll dance next time.
All right. Ricochet Vintage Finds. I sold the last of my vintage pixies today. What do you think is the next big trend or bolo in the vintage market?
Swung bases. Swung bases
Yeah,
are hot right now.
if you can afford to get them at a reasonable price, definitely go for it.
Listen, I went to an auction on Saturday and I was buying them for $20 a piece. It was a good
She's
auction,
not
though.
bragging or anything.
It was a good auction. Yes.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't.
glass is really hot right now. Fenton, swung vases,
Yeah.
is really pretty popular right now.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Glass
I
is
just
really
think
great.
it's one of those things where
She could.
you don't know, and then all of a sudden you just have that item, and it's like everybody sees that item, and then they're like, "That's the item I was looking for," and then you get a bunch of people interested in it, and that's what drives. It's not like it's planned or anything. You can't predict. I don't think. For me, I don't try to predict it. I just see something. I think that it's cool. The aesthetics speak to me in some level, and in doing that, then I hope it speaks to other people, and maybe there's a line of them, and it kind of picks up from there.
I think the question you want to ask is, what's the next big like hit TV show that's going to be vintage, or like think of like Stranger Things. When Stranger Things came out, there's a lot of stuff in the 80s pop culture wise became really popular.
It
So
did.
I think more or less it's going to be what is the next big pop culture hit or vintage hit that's out there, or movie or TV show that's really going to get people looking online for those items and try to find those things.
Yes, I don't have much input. Look here. Nan is saying it if you guys don't see.
He's in his little blanket. He's in his little blanket and everything. Little baby Jeff. It's cold. He's cold. Jeffrey's visiting.
I would probably be freezing anywhere up there. I'd be in like 5 sweatshirts and 2 pairs of sweatpants. I don't do well under 70. I don't do.
Oh.
No, I'm a Floridian. Listen, it was like 58, and we're like, oh, we're freezing. We were so cold. Sue wants to know if you have a honey hole that no matter when you go, you always find great items. I don't think she's asking us to disclose where it is, but she wants to know if we have one.
Misty always shows her hole. Like on.
You went to my hole today.
I was in it.
He was in my hole today. my vintage. That sounds even worse.
Children.
Baby, you're like digging the hole deeper.
Tell us more.
My favorite place to shop. My favorite shop to shop at locally. Jeffrey was there today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? I don't mind sharing the places that I go to and pick from, because I like to be able to give that shop, that small business, some eyeballs and get people in the door to shop at those vintage places. As a former owner of a brick and mortar store, I know what it's like to try to get people just to come in your door. And so I just kind of feel like for me, it's getting people into these real world brick and mortar antique stores and antique malls. That just means a lot to me. So I don't mind disclosing where I'm shopping at. Doesn't bother me. As far as the stores go, the brick and mortar stores.
I would say that I don't, it's not, I guess this is weird, but it's like for the vendors, because I do a lot of I do mostly antique malls. It's always like the vendors. So there might be like 2 vendors in an antique mall that I know they're just constantly turning their inventory over. So it's never necessarily a business, but it's the vendors that really are putting forth a lot of the effort and turning over their inventory. And there's like about 4 vendors, but they're in different antique malls. So there's vendors, but I would never say that there's a specific antique mall that always, no matter when I go in, there's always going to be, or a thrift store, but the vendors.
I'm the same way. For me, it's actually the local flea market here. I mean, I don't mind telling people it, because we are going to look for different items, and you can walk past what I'm going to buy and someone else is going to find something totally different. But more or less, when I go to that flea market, it's always certain vendors there that are looking to move inventory, just like you said there. And they always willing to give good deals because they have a lot coming in and they want a lot going out at the same time. So they're willing to take 60 cents on their dollar and still make a profit on just to move it so they can move on.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't really have anywhere that I feel like I could walk there and know I would find great items. There's no local thrift store. That's why I source mainly online. I don't like hide that from anybody, because then I can sit and browse for hours without walking miles. And sometimes like I have my catch treasure hunting channel, but I only do one video a week. There have been a lot of times I'll have to go to 3 places before I find one that has stuff. So I don't feel like I have anywhere I know I can go in person and I'm going to find good stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
Look at Richard. Richard says he will not share this, that I will not share the super chat. You called Rod the wrong name, Richard. That is not good for the first night. I wonder, Richard, it's with a D. I love you, Richard.
You got his YouTube channel correct, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, if he's giving me $20, he can call me wherever he wants to call me. All right.
Thank you, Richard. I'm gonna give Richard the original dolphin. Here you go, Richard.
Oh, the original. Okay.
And I might not share. I'm not gonna see. Richard knows. All right, here's the dolphin.
Super chat.
So cute.
Richard calls me out for all kinds of stuff, so I'm paying back the favor, even though he's paying me. But it's okay. Thank you, Richard. Miss Susan says, I was at a Whatnot sale today and bought a tank top. The shipping was $5.25, and I get that. Then I was going to bid on a flannel, and they wanted $4.25. So do some sellers make money on shipping?
No. Not on Whatnot. Whatnot makes the money on shipping. The seller has no, I mean, I shouldn't say. I think it's always important that during the sale, there is a little link that you can click that before you commit to buying it, that you can see what the shipping is going to be. Because sometimes sellers don't put in the information correctly, or, so there is that. But the seller isn't profiting off of you overpaying shipping. That's the Whatnot would be profiting off of that. So you just have to kind of look before you commit to buy to see what the shipping is going to be. And I think a lot of people forget that they can do that. You can click and see what the shipping is going to be on that item. And I know that there is a breakdown like when you buy something and then you get a discount on the next, but I don't know what that breakdown is, but there is a shipping reduction breakdown the more items you buy.
Agreed.
I think you answered pretty good there. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Misty hit it on the head. And the main thing is, Susan, is that seller's probably not weighing it correctly. That's the bottom line of what that is. Miss CC Fab Flip Lady, who was on with us last week. That is CC, sent a super sticker. Thank you, ma'am. CC has a YouTube channel as well, you guys, so check her out for sure. I'm going to we'll give the Gino one and dance again. Listen, when you started talking about your honey hole, like the chat went like, vroom. You got everybody talking.
Another source of revenue.
Well, okay.
Well then. Oh my goodness. Diane said, I sold a snow globe while on vacation. When I went to pack it, I noticed there was a broken bird wing that was not in the description. I have contacted the buyer every day since and asking if they still want it. No response. What would you do? It's a very heavy item, so it's a lot of money to ship, and the buyer's not responding.
Gosh.
What platform was it sold
eBay.
on? Oh.
eBay.
Should she contact eBay? I mean, if you're emailing the buyer and you're going through eBay, and the eBay they can see that you've been trying to contact the buyer. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know.
I'd err on the side of caution. If, an accident's happen, if there's something that's damaged to it, it's better that I know that it's not good, but to cancel the sale rather than send it to them, have them get an item that's broken. And then you're running the risk of them being like, well, you didn't tell me. And then you're going to be like, well, I tried to reach out to you. And then they're going to be like, well, you didn't tell me. I didn't get it. And then you got to go through the eBay thing, and then they're going to return it, or maybe they want a discount on it. So
yeah.
Is it worth the headache at the end of the day? is what you have to ask yourself, I would say.
So if you already reached out to them 4 times and they haven't responded, I think you did everything you possibly could do. What I would do is send them a photo, let them know that you're going to issue a refund back because you haven't got a response from them. Let them know they still want the item. You can always relist it for them at a discounted rate. And then that way you end up good with that buyer. You give them a discount on the item. They still want it. And at that point in time, you have to worry about any dings in your account or anything like that and just move on.
Yeah, so I would lie and cancel it and say customer requested because you don't want to take a hit on your eBay. I'm just going to be bluntly honest about what I would do. And I have done this both ways. Because that happens a lot. Like I'll notice a small like stain or something that I didn't disclose. And honestly, about 75% of the time they don't answer. And I have both sent it and they do get mad and they do want to return. And then I've had other ones answer me and say, oh no, that's okay. I still want it. If it was me, I probably would not send it just because I feel like 75% of the time I ship it, they throw a fit and it's just a whole mess. And then you're out shipping there, you're out shipping back. And so I would probably not ship it. Lindsay Lou, and it is about that time. How do you track your mileage for tax purposes? Do I need actual odometer readings? I've been marking down the miles driven for each trip, but not the odometer reading.
Well, my best friend is QuickBooks.
Wow.
QuickBooks. There's an app. It is a paid, you have to pay for it. I don't remember how much it is a month.
Like $10 or $15.
Yeah, it's not very much. And it's not just your mileage. That's for your QuickBooks small business.
It's called QuickBooks Self-Employed.
Self-employed. And every time you get into your car, it will track your mileage.
It tracks every mile. And then you go in every couple of days. I do. And you say business, personal, business, and you do that, and then throughout the year, and then you're done.
Yep. You just kind of have to get into the habit of like every night before you go to bed, you pull out your phone, bloop, bloop, bloop,
Like
bloop,
Tinder,
bloop.
swipe.
Yeah.
Swipe.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly,
Okay.
you can, if you know, like you're going to these thrift stores every week, or you're going to these antique malls every week or whatever, and then you can see those in your receipts, you can calculate, okay, it's this much. That's a lot of work to have to sit and do. That's the way that I've done that before.
Do you know, I have $9,000 worth of mileage this year.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's not. So it's definitely worth keeping track of your mileage.
I guess I do it the hard way. Again, just like I do, I know that I'm not going to sit down every night and be doing all of that. Like, I just know that I'm not going to.
Yeah.
For some people, they will. Me, I'm not going to do it. At the end of the month, again, I just take the receipts at the end of the month. And what I will do is, if you write the mileage on the receipt that you get, and then I will just add that up and I put that on the envelope. And again, I just submit it. I just know that I'm really good about keeping my receipts. So that's how I know that it works for me.
Mile IQ is another app that works for a lot of people. So a lot of people do use that one, QuickBooks. I mean, I know some other resellers that actually just keep their gas station receipts. They know how many miles they normally travel from, because they go to the same thrift stores every week, and they go to the post office every week. They know they make 2 or 3 trips, and they just find out the mileage from them and then do an estimate for the month. And then that's what they do. But you have to find out what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important though too, honestly, Rod, is that a lot of people forget, like, if you're going back and forth at the post office, that does count as mileage. Don't forget to include that though too. It's a deduction. It's still
Especially if it's every day.
Yeah.
Like every
It adds up
day, even
quick.
if it's only a few miles, that adds up. You don't need the odometer readings. I use Mile IQ, and it is just like they said, I have to swipe business or personal, but I don't do it every day. I'll remember at like the end of the month. But for me, I know where the post office is here, and I know which cities I go to thrifting, because I rarely go to the one in my city. So it's easy. I'm like, oh, I went to Crystal River, I went to Homosassa, or I went to pick up an auction in Clearwater. Like, it would be very obvious to me where those were, and then I just swipe them all at the end of the month. But I only go thrifting like once or twice a month, so I'm not thrifting a ton. So for me, it's not too hard. It's more like long drives for auctions, which I haven't been doing either. So Lily Works sent a super chat. Yes, Michael.
Oh, I was just going to say that something that I think that is really important, though, is that if you are a reseller and you are traveling maybe out of state, I would advise you that if you do pick up, like, and you're driving, maybe you go to a thrift store or an antique mall and you have those out of state receipts and that you can show evidence that you actually did work for that mileage, that you can then in turn write that mileage off. That's important too. Take from that what you will.
And if you're thrifting out of town and that's your main purpose, which a lot of times for me, it is my main purpose, then your meals are deductible and your housing and all of that. So there's a lot of deductions. An accountant pays for themselves, in my opinion. If you're doing a lot, like I don't know the laws and I can't.
And if you have an electric car, you still can claim your mileage.
My accountant is trying to convince me to get one because apparently there's a really big tax write-off this year. And he's like, you could just go buy an electric car. I'm like, I don't want an electric car. I like my car.
I love mine, but we had two. Now we just have one because there's not enough charging stations and it was driving me nuts.
Well, there's probably no charging stations in Chiefland, and then I'd have to make one. And
yeah, there's not a lot when you're traveling a lot. It does become, but it is great. Anyway, that's a whole other subject for another day.
Also, too, the people that if you're monetized on YouTube too, when you do travel and you do film, that's another write-off. So you can actually do
I film everywhere I go.
Yep. So I film everywhere I go. Yep. Every time I go on vacation. It's all business.
My whole life
yes, it is.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Everything.
I mean, it really is.
I just need OnlyFans. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Coming next to a
honey hole near you.
And you'll be the host.
Lily, here's your dolphin. You guys are gonna have me like falling on the floor tonight. Here you go. Done. Here's tax time. I'm telling you, it's tax time. Eileen wants to know what software or app you use to check earnings, expenses, profit, etc. Which I think we kind of went over it some, but not specifically.
I use QuickBooks.
QuickBooks, self-employed. I do my own taxes. I might be the only one here that does it because I enjoy it. But I like knowing every little bit of. I have an S corp too, which is ridiculous. So I had to learn how to file taxes for an LLC S corp.
My accountant takes
that was
care
fun.
Of it. I gladly pay an accountant.
Yep. This is the thing. I think that if you really do have a good accountant and you can talk to them, that you're going to pick up a lot of information from them to the point where maybe eventually you could do it. I don't have any interest in doing it simply because of the time and because a lot of accountants are insured. So if there does happen to be a mistake, you're not left holding the bill for it. And I don't want to see that happen. But I just do it old fashioned. Again, I collect everything. It's, I'm just one of those people that I'm no fuss, no muss. I like a pen and paper. It's easy for me. It's worked for hundreds of years. So if you're going to be responsible enough to make sure that you're holding on to all of your receipts, you can do it that way.
Yeah.
So I use QuickBooks. I pay $15 a month for my QuickBooks. I put everything in there, but I also have an accountant that I pay just a yearly fee to go through everything. And probably one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was someone told me is don't step over $100 bills, pick up pennies, because you get an accountant. Like, listen, if you're going to buy a house, you're going to get a real estate agent. You're going to, you get someone that's going to be an expert in that category because they're going to know more than you, and it's worth paying that couple $100
Absolutely.
to save you a couple $1,000 because they're going to find write-offs that you don't know about, and they're going to save you lots of money. So highly recommend getting an accountant, even if you're a small time. It's because you want your business to grow.
And I think it's important too to maybe look for one that has experience in e-commerce business.
You
I
have
have
to.
trained mine in e-commerce over the last 3 years. He is now an expert on every platform. So George said he was audited once and he was glad he paid an accountant. Yeah, because like Michael said, they're insured. Like that's gonna cover you because they are insured. I will say that I just started with my Reseller Genie. It's a web-based program for resellers. It imports all of your eBay listings. You can put in your cost. It'll tell you your profit. It'll spit out spreadsheets for your accountant. And they gave my code's the nurse flipper, just like on List Perfectly. I haven't started using it much yet to where I want to do a video yet. I need to be more comfortable with it, but that is specifically reseller related. And the most expensive is like $15 a month. And it will pull your information in from the platform so you don't have to do it. So that will be nice. Thank you, Caroline. Beachwalker Sandy Turtle. She just named her eBay store Sandy Turtle live on Whatnot. We helped her decide her name. So Beachwalker, aka Sandy Turtle, says she just downloaded Mile IQ and put her trips in for the year. If I have receipts, I haven't looked yet. And thank you all for sharing. The nice thing about having a YouTube, if you're doing videos, is I can look at my videos and be like, oh, I went to Clearwater to pick up an auction haul. Oh, I went here and went thrifting. So it's kind of like a video, a
video receipt,
a vlog of where I went.
And I would just say too, to kind of like piggyback on getting an accountant that does understand e-commerce, if you are utilizing social media, YouTube, Instagram, I would also recommend that you get an accountant who is familiar with write-offs that are available if you are making a living on social media, or if you're getting a 1099 off of social media, that they understand that there are certain write-offs that would not be available to the general public, like a brand new smile.
Also my nails every 2 weeks, guys. Yep. I'm showing jewelry on Whatnot and making money. I'm showing my items I sold. This goes on a business card.
Sure does. I gotta get up here on the camera.
Guys, don't be afraid to actually interview your accountants, because you can actually talk to multiple accountants, ask them questions, each one to find out who's going to be the best fit for you. Don't go to H&R Block. Find an accountant that works in the gray area or someone that has their own independent office. They're going to be the ones that are going to work with you the best and be able to communicate and have that one-on-one with you.
I don't want to get political, but there's somebody that's like big that was, they found out that he was like writing off, what was it now? Something, his hair, all of his hair care stuff. And they were like, that's a no-no. He's like, because I have a big business and I have to look good and that's my brand. And they said that he couldn't write it off, getting his hair done. So I thought that anything you changed had something, like if it had a personal benefit, then it.
I think there's a difference between personal hygiene and personal presentation.
Okay.
So I can't write off toothpaste and
Jeffrey?
Shampoo.
Or did he just have a business? Because I think there's a difference between being an influencer and being on camera all the time. No, now we're quizzing you. You spoke up.
Just say who it is.
Why it's so important to have an accountant, because you pick up the phone, you give your accountant a call, and they'll be able to answer that question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it depends on the accountant. Because I had an account. I tried an accountant.
It does.
I had a new roof put on at my shop, and she was like, "Oh no, you can't write the whole roof off." And I'm like, and I was like, "Yes, I can." And she's like, "No, you can't." And I looked it up. I looked up the tax law, and I said, "Here you go." And and then she ghosted me.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember what they say about a lawyer or a doctor who graduated last. You know what they call a doctor who graduated last is doctor. So, which is really scary, but.
Well, and I think like what Rod said is don't be afraid to interview your accountants and maybe even quiz them with what if I get a new roof on my business, not my house.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if your home office, you can deduct a portion of that.
30%.
So a portion of my electric goes, and actually we pay the electric now out of the business because my electric almost quadrupled when we got 3 sheds and we're heating and cooling them. My electric went from like $200 a month up to $800 a month. And my accountant said because the majority of it is business, we now pay that through there. But yeah, a percent of your house up to a maximum amount can be used as office, but you better be able to show that it's office. Yes, yes, it's only that. Like right now, my kitchen is dedicated to Whatnot because that's all that's in there is jewelry and a setup. But we're gonna make our spare bedroom into that as well. But we have 3 outbuildings that also we're paying to heat and cool and all of that fun stuff. All right, Beach Walker, I'm not forgetting your dolphin. Here's your dolphin before I forget.
That's when you had the blue hair. It kind of like it goes with the vibe.
I know. I miss the colorful hair.
I was debating because I just got it done again like a month ago, but I think I replaced it with nails. I think I'm now expressing myself through nail color. I think it was more of a like being like, I don't know how to say this without saying it. It was kind of, I'm just going to say it. It's kind of an FU to work because I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I had it up in like under a cap and I was just like, oh, look what I can do. And then it was not as fun anymore because now I can really do whatever I want. And now it's not as like, it's not rebellious anymore. I can just do whatever I want. So now I just do my nails.
And it's a lot to keep up with too.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. All right. Miss Rose said, what are your best strategies for increasing sales? A new store, I'm going to assume on eBay, listings, consistent sales, but I want to increase them in the new year.
List daily. I mean, that's for eBay. I mean, just being active and listing daily.
Yeah. The more you list, the more you can sell.
I mean, I would have to agree with that. I have sold on eBay, kind of like just to see how it goes, but I'm not an eBay seller.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would definitely say the more that I would say from a buyer's standpoint, and I think that's important. I think that a lot of sellers maybe forget that is that we're all consumers at the end of the day, and there are certain things that we look for as a consumer. So if I'm seeing blurry, unfocused, non-detailed descriptions, those are things that I don't buy unless, of course, I'm like super interested in it. But if you're just selling, and there's another one, if you're selling things that there's like 100 on there, then you better have the lowest price because I'm a hit lowest price first plus shipping. So that's another, again, but that's coming from a consumer standpoint, not a seller's standpoint. So if you think like a consumer, how you go and search for things on eBay, those things I think as a seller are going to really help set you up for success.
Yeah.
I think you both made some really good points. Listen daily is so important because think of it this way. There's only 2 ways people search. Items that are ending or newly listed items because a lot of people have saved searches on their listing. So I personally search because I have things saved at newly listed items. So if you list constantly every single day, you're going to have more and more sales that way. Also, too, knowing your sell-through rate. Like you said, if there's only 100 items listed and there's only 2 that sold, it's probably not a good item that you want to have in your store. So you want items that are going to be moving. Also, too, time of the year does play in a lot of things. Like, for example, I sell a lot of pop culture items. So right now, fourth quarter is really good for like pop, Funko Pops, video game stuff, comic books, sports cards. So depending on the type of year, so just know your avatar, know your market that you're actually promoting to, and make sure you take really good photos and good descriptions. So those are the biggest key things I say for any new store is just make sure you're listing consistently because what you're listing now, 1 year from now is going to change because you're going to get better at what you're doing.
Yeah, most of the time when I do my store reviews on my eBay membership, people have good sell-through rate and they just need to list more. So they only have like 200, 300, 400 listed and their sell-through rate's good. So they really just need to list more stuff. Definitely list every day. I'm starting to feel not listing every day. So I am getting back into it because my eBay sales have went like right down into the trash. This was my slowest weekend, like almost all year this past weekend because I haven't really listed much in a couple of months. Thank you to Whatnot. I would list every day, and Rod made a good point. Like, try to source better so you're getting faster sell through items that are selling faster, and make Michael too though. So I'm gonna counter Michael, because if you guys know, I don't do any description and I sell plenty except for this weekend. But I take really, really good photos and have good titles, and I do point out when there are flaws. So there's a description if there are flaws, but if there are no flaws, there's no description. And I don't think I really announced in public. I did hire an assistant who will be starting the 27th of this month, and she will be managing eBay. So she will be answering all the questions that I ignore, that I don't lie. I tell you guys, I ignore them, asking, what is the armpit to armpit measurement? I'm like, I don't know. I don't care.
Medium.
Ignore it. So medium. She's going to come in and she will answer those questions. So you will get them answered, and she'll do all my returns and all that stuff. The customer service stuff that I'm not so great with a filter. I hired somebody who can put a filter on. Yeah. So
I wanted to give a hot take real quick on what Michael said too. So you don't just have to always undercut everybody else. You can also be the highest person. The worst thing I think is to be in the middle, but you know what I mean? You can be the market leader, because there's people that will pay higher if it's perceived value. They say, oh, it's priced higher, it must be better. So it's another take. You don't have to be the Walmart. You don't have to be the lowest price. You could be Target for a change too.
I think that's a really interesting point. I think a lot of people though, and here's the thing. Again, I can only speak at it from a customer standpoint. If I have two of the same thing on the screen, at the end of the day, as a consumer, if it's the same thing, it's in the same condition, I don't care who you are. If it's the same thing, I'm going to go for the one that's the cheaper. The only way that you're going to get a premium, no, I don't want to say the only way, but one of the best ways that you're going to, as Jeffrey say, be a market leader is if you're utilizing social media in some form or fashion, whether that's YouTube, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's a combination. Maybe you're a whatnot seller. Again, I think that you really have to be able to distinguish yourself in order to command or to get a higher price. Because if it's the same thing, then Joe Blow doesn't care. He doesn't care who you are. And if he doesn't know who you are, then why am I going to pay more for the exact same thing?
What about if they have crappy feedback, the cheap one?
Yep.
Then,
would that sway you?
That's a good. I'll pay a couple more dollars if the seller has better feedback, 100%.
I look at that and I will pay more too. Like if somebody has like 96 and the other person has 100, even though that's a small amount, I'm probably going to choose the one that has the higher feedback. I will go read. So if it's something stupid, I'll like ignore it. But yeah. So Clay's giving you another tip. He said, at least end and do sell similar. I don't do that myself, but I know some people it works for. So I'm not going to say don't try it, see if it works for you. But I think Clay's main point is to have some kind of activity in your eBay store daily. I think that's the big thing. All right, Clay, here's your dolphin. I'm giving Clay the old school one.
Super chat.
Did you see what Mark said, Rod? Where'd it go? Now I can't find it. People are talking so much.
What'd he say?
That's awesome.
Mark said, Rod's thinking, what the heck did I get myself in?
This is easy. I love this stuff.
Rose wants to know, when did you see your sales really begin to take off? Like after a year, if you put it on multiple platforms, doubling inventory, like what is one or two things you would say? And you guys can say from a live sale perspective too, because if that's like your main thing you're doing, what do you think, like what really made your sales start to take off?
I think promoting on all your social medias. I mean, even if you are selling on eBay, you can still promote your listings on Instagram, on Facebook, and post the links to your eBay store. You know, you've taken posters for eBay, so drop those in and say, look at the cool things I have just listed in my eBay store, and drop your links, and just continuously doing that. You don't have to just be, you know, a live seller. You could absolutely be a strictly online seller and still use social media to promote your items.
I'll give something real quick. Whenever I did not have YouTube and I only sold on Etsy, that's where I started. I posted regularly and I had 400 to about 800 things kind of max on Etsy. I joined the teams on there, which you play games by like everybody views each other's listings. It's kind of like trying to pull one over on Etsy's algorithm. But so it took maybe 5 months or so before, but yeah, it was a compounding effect of consistency. You have to increase your do better everything, double down on better photos, better description, better tags, better titles, and always look at what other people are doing and see what you can do better and what you can emulate. There you go.
Yeah, I would have to go from it simply from a live selling standpoint. And at the end of the day, it's always going to be about reinvesting your money back into your business. And that's when you're really going to start to see higher profit margins, I think is at the end of the day what we're really talking about when we're really starting to see the money come rolling in. Is that if you're taking that money and you're, and I get there's no judgment when I say this, we're all in different stations in our lives. And maybe that money has to go towards the necessities. Maybe it's food and it's the electric bill, it's the insurance, it's all of those things. But what I would really urge you to do is, even if it's just a little bit, to reinvest that little bit back into your business. More specifically for me, it's all about the products. If you're going out, just like I said earlier, if you're going back out there and there's 100 of those things, can there be money made on it? Yeah, but what's distinguishing you from those other 99 people? Really, at the end of the day, nothing. It's the same thing. So it's going to be the price at the end of the day that's going to be distinguishing you. Or you take a little bit more time, you take that money. And I remember when going out and spending $20 on an item was like, there was no way that I was going to spend $20 in the hopes of making 100. Like even if I knew that, oh, that should go for 100, I wasn't in a place to invest that $20. So get yourself up to that point where you can start leveling up in your inventory so far as the things that you are bringing to the table, because that's really, especially if you don't want to do the whole social media thing, that's really going to be what distinguishes you. It's good to have a variety of products, though, I would say, though, too, that are kind of like your bread and butter. That way, if you do have very high end things that are very unusual, that are very niche, that you are still able to stay afloat by selling those bread and butters, and you're able to sit on those high value, high ticket niche items for longer. So that way, when that person comes along, you sold through it, but you still stayed afloat with maybe those kind of in the middle road kind of things.
And it's scary. It's scary to pay up for things because you are taking a risk. It's scary. I remember when I first started paying, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. Am I spending $80 on this? I don't know.
But you know your avatar, you know your demographic, you know that you got a base that's going to buy it. And maybe you're only going to double your money, but you can take that 80, turn it into 160.
Yeah, sometimes, but sometimes not. I mean, we've all had times where we've broke even or we've lost a little bit of money on something that you may have taken a little bit of a risk on.
You could buy something for $1 and flip it for 15. Okay. Or you can spend 15 and flip it for $60 and you made it's less work.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary at first. But sometimes you do have to take that risk.
I think just like everyone else there, we all start selling on a specific niche, something that we knew about. Because I highly recommend if you start selling on eBay, start selling what you know and don't really branch out right in the beginning, because you make sure you like it first. So I started selling in 1999, when you were receiving checks and money orders in the mail and cash envelopes, stuff like that. And, I didn't have a lot of money. I was in high school at that time, and, nickels and dimes make dollars. So I was selling a lot of $1, $2, $3 items and then making 10, $15, but I would just, put that back in the business. So what really started to get out my business then, once I established myself in a certain category, when I started to branch off into other categories, I started selling the action figures first, video games, then I started branching out the vintage clothing, antiques, other items. So when I would go out, I would find myself going through 10 yard sales and not buying any items because I was looking for one specific thing. So what really took off my business is when I started expanding my knowledge, watching YouTube videos, going to auctions, antique auctions, everything, just learning. Once I started learning stuff, I would walk into a yard sale or flea market, and I'd be able to find out left and right. So that's where my business really started taking off, is by expanding my knowledge.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And the same, like you can start low. It is scary. I pay $800 for one item, guys. I am at a point where I can pay $800 to turn it into $3,000. And I have all those little bread and butter things that sell while that Capodimonte sits on my shelf until the right buyer comes along. And I sold all of the $3,000 Capodimontes I have. They are off my shelf now. But it is scary. It's scary to do that at first. So like if you're talking about sales in number, I started seeing more sales in number once I hit 500 items listed is when I started picking up. But as far as dollar amount, it was when I was in a good enough place to be able to pay up to get those few higher dollar selling items. And like Missy was saying, and Jeffrey, like for Whatnot now, I'll pay up and I might not double my money. I start my Whatnot items at what I pay. And sometimes they go for what I pay for them. And that's okay. People get good deals, but a lot of times they go a lot higher. And I think it's just learning for me, as far as like the live sales, learning what my people that are coming in my shows regularly like and finding that stuff. As far as my jewelry and as far as eBay, it is just being consistent and listing and listing and listing. My store, it was over 6,000. Now we're down because I haven't been listing. I think we're at like 5,800, but that was 3 years of listing 30 to 50 a day, every single day, because I knew I wanted to quit my job. And that was what fueled me to do it.
And that determination is what can fuel you to put the time and effort and the energy into your business.
Yeah, and George is saying he's also heard 500 to 700. And I think 500 is a good point, but it really depends on what you're selling. I also know people with really successful business models that have less than 150 listed, and they make more than I do with 6,000. So if you can find those really popular, fast-selling items, you don't need that many listed. But I can't find them. Like, I don't know how those people, like, I cannot find them where I'm at. But I also think those people probably have lower margins than I do, where they might have a 20% margin and I'm working on 50 to 60%. Rose, send us a super sticker. All right, here is your dolphin.
I was just
dun, 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 dun. This question is for me. Crystal wants to know, Kat, do you allow people to advertise their shows during your Whatnot streams? I saw 2 people to do it today. Yes, I do, because I'm all about people bringing in more buyers and me helping them get buyers, especially for jewelry. That's in what I'm in. So we normally, and Marsha, Red Cardinal Treasure, she's in chat. She's my main Whatnot moderator. We normally tell people during the giveaways. I'm OCD, so I do a giveaway every 20 items. I give away something for free because I'm just OCD like that. So you can come in every 20 items. It will be a free item. And when we do the giveaways, I tell people to share. That's when I remember, like in my head, hey guys, if you have a show, share it. So yes, I do allow it. I do encourage it. And because I like to share mine when I'm in other streams, like I wouldn't. So I'm not trying to hold anybody back. There's plenty of stuff.
I usually say things like, if you're a seller on Whatnot, throw out flames or hearts or something.
That's what we say too.
Yeah,
but some people can't get the flame emoji like on the computer and stuff. So I just say now, I'm like, I think it's just colon and flame, but I don't know. Okay. I think I'm going to put both of her questions up. So remember, her first question is, who sells the most? Do you think niche stores or everything stores? And the second is, what platform do you get your most sales on?
Gosh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would think that maybe everything store, because you're selling everything.
Well, think about Amazon. They're everything.
True. They're everything.
How big do you want to go?
And honestly, eBay's everything. I mean, you can sell everything on eBay. What was the other question? Can't remember.
What platform?
Let's just say, I think
What platform do you sell the most was the other question.
I think sellers should niche down and start with what they know and work their way out. Don't try to do everything all at once, or you'll crash and burn. Honestly, like, it's a lot. You can't expect to know everything. You never will, actually. But you have to find your way in and just keep going.
Yeah, and I think the platform. I mean, I think it just, like, for me, it's YouTube and Whatnot. Those are my two main platforms. I don't really, I mean, I don't even know if I have 100 things listed on eBay. I know I haven't listed anything on eBay in probably over a year. So, yeah. So, I mean, I don't have the time for it. I was just telling him during the last super chat. I mean, I had like 500-600 things listed on eBay when eBay was the only place I was selling from. But now, I mean, I do everything. I ship it, I sell it, I buy it, everything by myself. I don't have time to also list on eBay. So
yeah,
that was my answer.
I don't know. I kind of think of it maybe a little bit differently, because I think that if people say vintage, they consider that being like niche somehow. I don't, because when you say
that's like
vintage,
giant though.
it is.
There's
It can be clothing, it can be pop culture, it can be glass and ceramic, it's textiles, it's all of those things. So if you want to do, like, for me, like, there's a distinction. There's like a new seller, and what I mean by a new seller is somebody that is selling contemporary things that are being made currently or have been made, I would say, within the last 10 years, or items that you can still go out and get. But for me, I want stuff that manufacturers are still no longer making. The original stuff, maybe there are reproductions, right? Um, so for me, I look at it like, well, I'm a vintage seller, but just because I'm a vintage seller doesn't mean I only have to sell glass. I don't have to just sell glass. I can sell ceramics. I can sell pottery. I can sell textiles. I can sell
Toys?
clothing. I can do toys. I can do collectibles. All of that stuff is vintage. So I guess that's kind of how I look at it. So you could be in everything, but still be considered a niche, if you will. Um, again, live sales for me is where it's at.
For
It's
me,
just easier.
I sell on eBay. I do sell some other platforms, but I do, I sell over 6 figures on eBay. So that's my main source of income on eBay. And comparing the niche store to an everything store, I think an everything store is going to have more consistent sales because you have a little bit of everything that you can sell all year round. When it comes to a niche store can ask for a premium for higher end items. And the reason why I say this is, if I'm going to buy a camera from an everything store or from someone who specializes in camera, I'm probably going to go to who specializes in the camera because they're an expert that can answer my questions. They're going to list it properly, where someone who's genuinely selling may miss a couple different things. So it just depends on what you're looking to do. Niche store does have this advantage when you're selling premium items or ask for a premium price on things. But I think everything stores have a more consistent sale rate.
Yeah. So for me, I'm an everything store. So I like to think everything stores, but like, have you seen the video about the guy who makes like 20 grand a month selling ties? Like, people make it work with all different and I watched that video and I tried to sell ties and I couldn't sell $2 a month in ties. So, I still have some ties I got 3 years ago after I watched that video. I like everything. I do tend to like the older stuff. I gravitate towards vintage, but I will not pass up money and something newer. And I rarely buy brand new items. So by newer, I mean like Disney figurines that are less than 10 years old, but I'm going to make $500 profit on. Those I'm not going to pass up. So right. I do a little bit of everything. As far as what platform you get your most sales on, for me, I did about 175,000 on eBay this year in sales, so close to 200,000 on eBay. But I will tell you, the last 3 months, I've made more on Whatnot than I do on eBay. Am I putting more time into Whatnot than I do on eBay? Yes, and that is why. And when I first started, I was doing eBay and Amazon, and I had to drop Amazon because I was like, I can't do both of these big platforms. So that is why I hired Lynn and she will manage eBay. So she's going to come in. I'm going to train her. I will get to source. That will be my main job because my daughter catalogs for Whatnot and she ships Whatnot.
Gosh.
That means I get to mainly just find all the stuff, which I'm really good at and I love doing. So I will train Lynn to answer emails. She'll pull, she'll pack, she'll ship. She will do everything for eBay, and I will concentrate on mainly sourcing. Honestly, mainly sourcing will be my main thing. All right, Jeffrey, what say you? I know you saw it.
I don't know what even song, and I haven't.
He's not prepared. Karen, he will send you a private message.
He will make
nice.
one dedicated
You'll be his first
specifically.
only fan. I'll pass the money
Karen,
to
you're his
him.
first only fan.
And I didn't even have to take my shoes off or anything.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm seriously gonna fall out of my chair tonight.
I feel bad though. That's $20. I know.
Great, 20 is a 20. All right.
And make it happen, for God's sakes. Seriously.
What song do you want?
Sing Happy Birthday.
Oh no, you can't. You can't. You have to sing. I don't know. What's a non-copyright?
It's Christmas. What's a good Christmas song you like to sing?
Jingle Bells.
Jingle Bells.
That's neat. Okay. Jingle bells.
Okay, I'm making you big.
Okay. Oh shit, no. Oh shoot, no. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one
horse open sleigh.
In a one horse open sleigh, dashing through the snow. In a one horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. There you go. That's enough.
Good job,
Yay!
Jeffrey.
All right, you did it.
Oh,
was
Karen,
lovely.
she always wanted that.
Oh, you
like
picked
it's
the
awful.
perfect song.
There you go.
He wasn't warmed up or anything.
I didn't do, and I'm parched.
Jeffrey does have a YouTube as well, you guys. Just FYI.
And he has a YouTube channel that he just sings on.
A little bit. There's like 3 or 4 songs on there.
Good job, Jeffrey.
Good job, Jeffrey. All right. Resell to ride. Approximately how long did it take you before your YouTube channel started to take off? And any tips on how to make it grow faster?
Well, I posted daily content for a year before I was monetized at all. So it takes time. I mean, it can take time. It doesn't have to take time, but it can take time. And
it depends on. Never mind. I was going to say something off. That's not kosher, but yes. If you're doing
I
it
don't know
now,
if we've been kosher
I'm
all show.
shocked.
no, I'm saying is if you do it like legitimately through like the way you get subscribers.
by posting content.
He's saying if you don't buy your subscribers and viewers and stuff like
If
that.
you don't do that, don't do that. Then anyway, it took me 5 months, I think, to get monetized and everything. But is that true?
What?
I don't know. Life has begun so quickly with me. I don't even remember. But anyways, what are you looking at?
Cindy.
It's very distracting. Anyways.
I'll hold you in a second.
Yeah, so just maybe like half a year, but it took you like a year, you said.
It took me a year. But posting and it's just like with eBay, consistent posting and engaging, and it doesn't always happen. There are people that have YouTube channels for 3-4 years and they still have not been monetized yet. But I mean, it just be yourself and have fun doing it. As soon as you're done, if you're not having fun doing it, it'll show. And just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it. Try it. See how it goes.
There you go. I love this question so much. Mine was relatively quick. So, and a lot of it was because prior to actually having a YouTube live sale. I was selling live with Misty specifically. I did have an Instagram presence. So, I had, thankfully some people in my life really did help give me a very solid foundation. And I think I've been pretty clear and upfront and transparent about that. I'm very thankful for that opportunity. So, mine was very quick. But it's at some point you really got to take ownership over it and really, it's all well and good to have the light, the eyes directed at you, but at the end of the day, what are you going to do to keep those eyes there? So it's just about posting content consistently, posting content that is engaging, making sure that the content that you are putting out is clear, that people can see things, that people can hear you. Um, I think that those things are really important. It doesn't have to be flashy. You don't have to have these super fancy like thumbnails. It helps, but you don't have to. I've seen videos do like really well, and it's just like a regular old YouTube screen grab. It's not even like there was any thought put into it. So sometimes it's just simply the luck of the draw. And as Misty said, there are people out there that have been working really hard to make it happen. And after a number of years, it hasn't happened. So just don't give up. And if you're enjoying it, then just keep enjoying it. And hopefully people, eventually will take note.
So I'm fairly new. I just hit my 1 year mark on my channel, and it was a real struggle. It took me about 6 months to get monetized. If you ever watched my first video, it's horrible. I did it with low light. I had my stepson film it, and it looks like my cameraman has Parkinson's disease. The camera's just shaking because
mine still looks like that.
But it is what it is. It's just starting out, putting out content, be consistent with it. I have a rule of thumb where I try to make every video 1% better than the last one. So if you can increase 1% every time you post out a new video, you're on the right page going forward. The two biggest things I can say I learned for myself that really helped my growth is thumbnails and your titles. Make sure they're engaging, and they, the question, I got to click on that to see what that is. So by putting really good thumbnails, really good titles is really going to help your engagement and get people to click. But also too, when people do click, don't have a minute-long intro, because just like Netflix, once you see that,
they're going to be like, bye.
Yeah, you see that 60-second intro, you skip it. You might watch it the first time, but you're going to skip it every single time. So short intros and get to the point. Make sure you got the hook in the beginning.
One little blurb with an intro, like yours, like you. I agree. The long intros, I'm like, oh God, it makes you.
If you don't know somebody, you're not going to watch them babble about what you didn't click on to see.
Correct.
Because you don't know them.
I'm talking about like the Sizzler, like reels or whatever they're called, where it's like music and
graphics.
It's like I'm not here for a movie. Like let's.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think that when you're looking back, if you look through your content and you're doing videos and you see you don't rely on YouTube to pick your thumbnail for you. You need to make a thumbnail. You need to go into Canva. You can Canva is free. You can do it for Canva for free on certain. It's limited, but you can make a thumbnail with like a title. You can do that on YouTube Studios. You don't even have to have Canva. But I know I've seen a lot of people that will just they don't change their
clicking
title.
One of the frames. Is that what you're talking about?
And they're like,
I've done that before, and the video did actually pretty well. YouTube knows
but
what
when
they're
you
doing.
first started out,
actually, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just
That's when you get differing opinions, though. That's why I like doing these panel shows, because we're all going to have our own opinions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was like, YouTube knows best. I'll take that one. And then honestly, sometimes it does really well. And sometimes I will go through, I scrub through my video and I pull the screen grab myself. And I have sometimes pulled the same screen grab without even looking at what YouTube, like one of the three options. And I feel good about myself whenever me and YouTube.
Because it matches.
I'm like, yeah. But I pull my own from, this is probably more than anybody wants to know, but I pull it and I throw it into Canva, overlay text, do what I need to do. And then I upload it as the fourth option or whatever on YouTube. But yeah.
Well, I think it's important
that's what a lot of us do, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you forget, I forget to take thumbnails. I'm like, oh, I didn't take a thumbnail.
I do too, and I have to just screenshot something. Or you'll see my same picture that's like a year old and my hair's still purple, and but it was what fit. I think it took me about 5 months to get monetized as well. And I will tell you, as far as making it grow faster, it depends on how much you want to put into it. For the first 6 months of my channel, I put in over 40 hours for free. I was everywhere. If there was a reselling live, I was in it. Yep. And people were like, you are everywhere. Like I kept hearing, they got sick of seeing my name, but they knew my name. And I mean, I was in the live chats. I was commenting on other resellers' videos. I gained 40,000 subscribers this year. So I celebrated 20,000 December 31st last year, and I just hit 58,000 today. So I've gained 38,000 subscribers this year.
That's awesome.
It's because of teacups of all. You do not know what video will go viral. Let me just say that. Mine was teacups. And now everybody thinks of me when they think of a teacup. And I didn't know that. But if you find something like that video did well, that was one of my research videos. I kept doing them. So like my research videos on vintage jewelry have 150,000 views too. So I think if you see one of your videos and it gets 1,000 views and you normally get 200 views, you need to make more videos like that because people are telling you they like that kind of video. And at some point you might have to decide, do I want to do what they want or do I want to do what I want? And what is a happy medium that I can live with and that people will like? So I think getting out there, being in this chat, being in other reseller like premieres or live chats. I know Derek and Regina do Wednesday night, like Misty and Michael are stopping there. So just any live, I feel like.
I think it's
Even
really
sales.
important. Yeah. I think it's really important though because one thing that I kept asking everybody when I was starting this was, what do you consider yourself? What do you consider? Are you a content creator or are you a reseller? What is it that you want to be? And that's before you get into the, it's easy for us to be up here on screen because we're content creators. I don't consider myself a content creator. I am a reseller. You know what I mean? I am a reseller. Are my videos monetized? Do I get paid for them? 100%. Yes, I do. But my content is my business. My business is my content. And I'm not, if I was getting hundreds of thousands of views on my videos consistently, I wouldn't have to put the hustle that I put into my reselling business the way that I do. That's not the case. And there's nothing wrong. One's right, one's wrong. And I don't, I'm not
I
getting
can't make
that.
a living on my AdSense.
Right. And that's the thing that you have to ask yourself. What is your intention here? Do you want to be a content creator or do you want to be a reseller? And you got to prioritize. You can be both, but you're going to have to prioritize one. Right. Right. And that's going to, and that's really going to dictate what it is that you're investing your time in and the way in which you want to present. If you want to be a YouTuber, how you present that information. If you want it to be super polished and you want to have these popping thumbnails and all of this attention grabbing stuff, then you want to be a content creator. If you're okay with maybe taking it a step down and you're speaking to a specific audience, then maybe you're leaning more towards reseller. So figure that out first before you start worrying about getting monetized and the views and the subscribers. Really know what it is that you're trying to do and let that lead you down the appropriate path. Because again, like selling, don't try to be everything all at once because it's not going to stick. It's not going to stick. Figure out what you want to be and go with that and just let that be the lead. That's the important thing.
I mean, I'm having so much fun I'm doing Vlogmas. I'm doing videos every single day. I'm uploading them every single day, the same day. I'm having a lot of fun doing it, but it's a lot of a time commitment. And it's just, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I would love to be able to be both a content creator and a reseller, but I'm a reseller. That's how I earn my living. I earn my living by selling vintage. I don't earn a living by creating videos. They're kind of one and the same. They're a little married because I can't have one without the other necessarily, but I don't know.
I was just gonna
like if I don't sell stuff on eBay, I have nothing to present content about. So
Right.
like, that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, I got to hire somebody because I'm like, the eBay sales. Look, Jeffrey, I'm keeping a list. Here are your super chats.
I'm not taking those.
There are more of them. They don't
Wow.
want a dolphin. They're just giving it for you singing.
Hey, he has a channel. You guys subscribe to his channel. Listen to his singing
It's
for free.
It's just under my name.
Yeah.
It's a separate channel.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I was wanting to try to do other
Tell them your channels. Tell them your channels here.
Oh.
Well, tell them. They might not know.
Yes, 3 of them. Real Nifty Vintage,
Mhm.
Real Nifty Vintage Live.
That's just for the selling of the vintage.
Yeah. And then Jeffrey Thomason.
Yeah, that's my personal channel.
That's a boring.
Shut the heck up. Because I was like, I'm not trying to be too cute about it. I'm like, it's me. It's my channel. And so
So Resell to Ride, 2 months in, posting 1 video a week, 1 short a week. Just keep what you're doing. And Rod, weren't you telling me one of your friends got lucky and their first video had 160,000 views? Like, you don't know which one's gonna go viral.
I've never had a viral video. I would love to. I know that you did.
Well, one of my
But you never know.
You never know.
My-
And I
my-
just
Like, if you would have asked me a year ago, would teacups have got me to 50,000 subscribers? I would tell you you're crazy.
right.
Surprise.
And it always happens, like the videos that you put so much time and energy in, you're like, oh, this is a great video, and they tank. And then it's the ones that you like, oh, I'm just gonna throw this video up there. I gotta have
Those
a
are
video
the
today.
best.
And then it takes off and you're like, dang it, I don't want people seeing that.
Right. That's the one.
That's the one I just was like, whatever with.
That's the one that
I
went
have,
viral.
Well-
I have way better. Watch those.
I think that's important, though. That distinction is important to remember, though, because I don't come to YouTube looking for produced content.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people do. The foundation of YouTube was a very organic, it was a very personal, very voyeuristic kind of thing. And I can go watch Netflix, I can go watch a movie, I can go watch cable to see very polished, high produced content. YouTube is about real people doing real things. And I think sometimes there is such this idea or concept of, I'm going to spend $1 million. It's like I'm going to get shady.
$1,000.
It's like the whole Mr. Beast kind of that mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, I personally don't have an interest in it because it's not the reality of the world in which I live. So to kind of see that, I'm like, not my thing.
I remembered one thing I wanted to say. That when people watch and they see us wherever we are and they're comparing themselves to where we are, that's the complete wrong way to do it, by the way. But basically thinking that since we're doing it so well and it's working for us, that you can just jump right in and get to step 5 without doing all the work to get there. This is what my 5th year resell. Let's see, I quit was it 2017? I've been reselling full time since 2017. So where I am today took exactly that long to get to. And it's been a lot of plateaus.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Been plateaus. It's been a lot of consistency. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and do live sales tomorrow and sell $1,500 worth of stuff in 2 hours. No, probably not.
Yeah. And that's hard. It's hard on the person comparing because they'll put themselves down, but you got to really look. Like, my teacup video was probably my 400th video, and like Evan Carmichael is one of my favorite motivational channels. And it took him 5 years before his channel took off. And then now he has over 1 million subscribers. So do it because you like it, keep doing it, and don't do it expecting anything, I think would be the best advice. And then when you get a teacup video, then you're really happy and have extra money. And then it goes away, like right now. And then it sucks on the downhill, I will tell you. It's beautiful on the upswing, but the downhill is not as great. All right. Kristen, a rural squirrel, wants to know if we file quarterly or annually.
Quarterly, girl.
You make estimated quarterly tax
Quarterly,
payments.
girl. You got
Annually.
no.
I don't spend it, so I'm not annually.
I do quarterly.
You have to make estimated tax payments.
No, you don't. You can. I
No, you
didn't. This
don't.
is the first year that I have consistently paid my quarterly taxes and not did them all at the end of the year.
But you're filing them quarterly. You're like actually doing them.
No, I'm paying my estimated.
You're making
quarterly.
Estimated, right?
Yeah.
By like last year.
Yes. Yes.
That's what
yes.
I meant.
But I try to. Oh yeah, no, that's. But I try. I pay about. I try to pay a little bit more than my estimated because I mean, just as a little cushion, just in case, because I got stuck paying an enormous tax bill last year because I didn't pay any estimated quarterly taxes. And it was hard. And so, yes, quarterly. Pay your estimated quarterly taxes.
And then Michael
I pay
says,
annually. I pay it annually. I do. I pay it annually. What works
you
for
prepare for it though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is that you're gonna pay them and you have to know. So I didn't know because last year was the first time that I had to file, but I was full-time employed. Plus, I was doing the whole content, so I was scared, and I knew that that was coming. So I made sure that financially I was prepared for whatever was going to come my way. But again, that's why it's important to have a good accountant so that they will get you all the deductions. Even though you think you know all of the deductions, they are going to get you deductions that you didn't know that you could get. And that bill will drastically drop legally, might I add.
Yeah, I pay mine annually. But I mean, there's a difference from filing quarterly and annually. You can prepare quarterly, which, if you guys are good with your money, make sure you put money in a separate savings account, put that money aside for your taxes, which is very important. That's one of the biggest mistakes new sellers do make is because it's when it comes in, they have all this money, they just spend it and they're going to learn the hard way. And that's the worst thing ever. You don't want to be in that position. Also, too, if you're a new business, you want to pay annually because you're probably going to take a loss because you're going to have a ton of write-offs.
Yep.
And after you take a loss over so many years, talk to your accountant, but then they'll make you start paying quarterly then at that point in time. Yep. So it just, depending on where you are in your business, going to determine where you're going to pay quarterly or annually, depending on how much gross you're doing and how much profits you're making. So it's going to be
I think there's a certain amount that you can get penalized if you don't pay quarterly. Like if your profits are over a certain amount, I think you can get penalized. They'll penalize you like interest, I think.
That's
take note. None of us are accountants. Please, everybody, please take note of that. I luckily have a good accountant, and like last year he said, I think we should do X amount in quarterly for prepay, and that number times 10 from last year to this year because I was still taking losses. And now I am not, and we are an S Corp now. So, we have a lot more difficult, and like I paid an extra last year, so I actually have like a balance with the IRS to go like towards my taxes, but I have quite a bit. I put up a lot in my saving, and then if I don't need it, then I can pull it out of savings and do whatever, go shopping or do whatever for the business. But I have a big hunk because I don't want to get caught and owe thousands and thousands of dollars and not have it in my account. So like my accountant, and that's the nice thing about the accountant too. Like my accountant said, if you go over X amount of profit the last 2 months, you're going to increase your taxes by $6,000. So that means watch what I'm doing November, December. If I want to go on a shopping spree next week, right before the end of the year, and cut my profit down, it's going to save me $6,000 in taxes. Right. So that's where having a good accountant, like he does tax planning in October and told me, if you make this much, then you're going to pay $6,000 more. So that means Kat's going to go shopping at the end of December because if I don't go shopping, I'm going to pay $6,000 more to the government versus I can buy $6,000 worth of inventory and sell it next year. So,
or supplies. You're like, do I need to get a bunch of boxes? Sure.
A ton of boxes. Yeah. Sure. Oh my gosh. With Whatnot, I'm going through hundreds of jewelry boxes and padded poly mailers a week. Like we're going through so many. Scott Chachinking sent us $10 for our tax penalties. Thank you, Scott.
Good.
We need a little bit more than that, maybe, Scott.
Oh, Scott sent me $100 a couple weeks ago because he hit 10,000 subscribers, and I helped him hit 1,000 on the show. So Scott like blew everyone away with $100.
Woohoo!
All right, Scott. Here's Scott. I think Scott likes the dolphins. Here's your dolphin. Dun, 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 dun. Freddie wants to know, does list perfectly include whatnot? It does not, but whatnot, like I spend a couple hours cataloging, but I wouldn't want to cross post because I don't want stuff on eBay that I know I'm going to sell in 1 hour on whatnot. So everything on whatnot for me only goes on whatnot. So I wouldn't want to use a cross posting service for stuff that is on whatnot. Scrappy Stamper says, I have a lot of regional A and B boxes. I know they will be discontinued soon. Can I turn them inside out and use them for shipping? So I saw somebody else say, do you know that or is it rumor? We know that because I have a friend who is in the top at the post office, and regional A and B will be discontinued. But you can use those boxes and you'll just be charged whatever priority rate. So you don't need to go through the trouble of turning them inside out. You can still use them, but it would be just like you were using a number 4 or number 7. It will just be, you'll pay by the weight.
Yes, we're talking about this today. That's amazing.
They are going away. So one of my members, her husband worked for the post office, like in corporate. So he asked for us, and regional A and B are definitely going away. And it is very possible padded flat rate is as well. But the only confirmed is regional A and B. That's the only confirmed right now. But don't trash them. You can still use them.
Yeah, those regional boxes are great sizes too. I love the sizes of those boxes.
Yeah, I love for Poshmark, because Poshmark you can use any priority boxes, so it's perfect for that. Mile High Mom wants to know if you put your store on vacation around the holiday, like the day of or the day after.
I don't. I mean, no. I mean, I guess it depends. If you're taking vacation, then yes, you should take a vacation, but I don't.
I don't sell on eBay. If I did, I would.
Yeah.
I do.
Do you take time off from live sales though during the holidays?
No.
Maybe.
I don't.
Maybe. No, but that's the thing. That's something that Misty and I were talking about. Is you know what? We were actually all talking about this before we came on live, and something, with not doing Vintage Rescue Squad, and about having to step away because you're investing in your personal time. It is important that we do recognize at the end of the day that we are a human being and we can't do everything all of the time. And we have to there's nobody else there to hold us accountable, but there's also nobody else there to take care of us. And when you are your business and your business is you, it is important that you take care of the human being so that you can be a better business in the long term. And you can't get so fixed on the right here, because right here turns into a year, turns into 2 years, turns into 3 years. And then you've just beat yourself down, and it's not healthy to do that. So yeah, have there been times when I have taken a day off for a sale? 100%. Vintage Rescue Squad. We're not doing Vintage Rescue Squad anymore because we went to invest that time into our personal lives. So yeah, 100%. You should do that. You deserve it. And if you can't meet somebody purchasing something the day before Christmas because you're going to be out and you didn't put your store on holiday, I don't know if eBay really cares about that, because they're going to be like, well, that's why we have that feature there for you.
For me, I don't put my store in holiday mode. There's an option to do 1-day shipping on eBay and you get like a 10% discount. I rather eat that 10% and not take the discount. I have all my items on 3-day handling and shipping, even though I ship out usually the same or the next day. I put it on 3 days because just like they just spoke about their personal life, my time is very valuable. And if something happens with my stepson or my fiance wants to do something, then I can hold off 1 extra day to do that. But right around especially the holidays for me, I sell a lot of pop culture stuff. So video games accessories sell really well right after the holidays for me. So controllers, games, other stuff like that. So I would actually really be hurting my business if I actually put it on holiday mode or took time off. So having the 3-day handing on there gives me time to spend time with my family, but also to be able to ship things out in the proper time.
Yeah, and I like my discount, so I'm on 1-day handling because I save like $500 a month in fees. Do I put it on vacation? Not unless I'm out of town, and I'm hoping with hiring Lynn that I won't have to put it on vacation even when I am out of town because she will be working full-time in person. But you got to think Christmas Eve and Christmas are both holidays, so you don't have to ship on those days anyways. And then New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, same thing. So those aren't going to count towards your shipping days anyways, if it's a legal holiday. And yeah, so I do not. All right, Misty, question for you. You have shifted and changed your reselling journey a few times. What tells you it's the time for a change, or a time for a change is needed? Is one platform slowing, or maybe the workload is too much on another?
I think it's a lot of it is just finding balance. I think trying to do too many things and having too many irons in the fire, and trying to prioritize one over the other. And I think for me, I'm trying to make it equal. So, I mean, I'm having one scheduled sale a week on YouTube. I'm having one scheduled sale a week on Whatnot. And that is enough for me. I mean, I was doing 4 sales a week and then 2 live chats a week. It was a lot. So I think just finding that balance. And yes, I mean, if I'm doing 4 sales a week, sure, I'm making, a lot of money, but it isn't worth it. It's my sanity is not worth it. And the time that I'm spending with my family and the time that I'm spending with my friends is really important to me. So I think just finding that balance. We talked about this before, not everybody is going to be successful at selling on YouTube, for example. And not everybody's going to be successful selling on Whatnot. I think the key is being prepared. And I see a lot of people struggling on live sales, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Whatnot, is because they're jumping in and they're not prepared. They don't have shipping supplies. Their sale isn't prepared. They're just like pulling things out of, the rafters somewhere.
Yeah, I'm like OCD. Like my Whatnots are all cataloged. And like we spend 2 to 3 hours on each show before cataloging. So I do 100 items in 2.5 hours.
Yep. And that's the thing too. You do not need to have, I've seen people that were having 5-hour sales no, I don't think that you should have a sale longer than 3 hours. Honestly,
I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could. Like 3 is like the end of my thing.
Yeah, you're going to lose your
local
audience.
treasures. Inventory is not a write-off. Inventory is not a write-off. It's a cost of doing business. So you need to make sure you track it because you wanted to keep track of the money you spent as a business expense. Right. So no, it's not a write-off unless you destroy it, and then it might be a write-off. But or like returns, if people ruin them, that's just like theft of your business. You want to take note of that. So some inventory can be a write-off. All right. Richard has a question for Rod, and he called him by the right name. What are the posters behind you? I will make Rod big so he can show you his posters.
Yeah, so I got Gremlins, actually right there. Gremlins poster, that's actually autographed. I go to a lot of horror movie conventions. Night of the Living Dead. I actually have Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Child Play 2. When I go to a lot of conventions, I buy a lot of posters and get them signed. So I actually rotate the posters behind me depending on what's going on throughout the year. And I'm just a big horror movie fan. So Halloween's my favorite time of the year, and I love a good horror movie. So if you guys have any recommendations, leave them in the comments down below.
He wants your recommendations.
Anything you want me to watch. So
have you watched like the Hereditary ones?
I watched a lot of messed up things. So
yeah.
All right. How did you get the following on YouTube to sell on YouTube? So I think this is going to go to our 2 guests down there. I stopped. I used to do 1 a month sale with Yvonne, and I stopped that in lieu of selling on Whatnot, just because I can go so fast on Whatnot. That's why I prefer it. So I'm not selling on YouTube at all anymore. So Michael, do you want to answer first?
Again, it's the same thing so far as how fast did you grow your channel, or was it monetized?
You think
It's
just
this,
like advertising, or do you go in other sales? Like, would you say them going into other sales would help if they're a seller, or not really? Like, do you think it's bringing good items and just keep persisting? I
what
never
I
did
think.
great on YouTube sales. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I sucked at them. So
Well,
it's
but
not
that's the
just a
thing.
number of people.
Right. It's what you're known for. You know what I mean? Like, I tried eBay, and while eBay was okay, it wasn't like it was some big blow away hit for me, because people didn't come to me for eBay. They were coming to me because I'm a YouTube live seller. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where what it is, again, thinking about what it is that you want to be and letting that kind of lead you forward. You can try other stuff, and that's not to say that I would never sell on eBay, but it's not to say that my eBay sales would ever equate to my YouTube live sales. I don't know, but that it's about investing in the time in it. But it 100% is utilizing free social media, whether it's putting up content on YouTube, which doesn't cost you a dime aside from your cell phone, which you probably already have. Having an Instagram account, which is totally free, again, using that phone that you probably already have for your photos, putting up links, utilizing your community tab. I think that being an engaging personality, and I think that the more important thing than engaging with other resellers that will help, but is if you're able to connect with, identify, and foster a positive, healthy, welcoming community, that is going to speak to a lot of people if they can come to your sale and feel comfortable in the community and in the chat. That really is going to help. So making sure that you are a positive, upbeat person, and I don't know. I think that's really going to be what building trust, rapport, and that takes time. It's all about time.
Yeah, don't just limit just YouTube though. I mean, that same can be said for Facebook Live and also for Instagram Live, because I have a lot of friends that used to sell on Instagram Live, and they used to do, because you can do pair up with someone else, and you can do a live claim sales. That's real big on Instagram. So just don't limit yourself just to YouTube for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I forgot. I met someone at Renninger's when I went to see George. He was selling 15,000 a night on Facebook Lives of jewelry. Oh, so like I told him like my highest numbers, and he's like, "Oh, that's nothing." I'm like, "Oh, okay, never mind." You know, he's like, "Oh." So yeah, so I it depends on where you find your people. I feel like I'm doing excellent on Whatnot. I love Whatnot, and on YouTube live sales I didn't do great.
I am finding that, I mean, I've been doing really pretty well on Whatnot as well. But again, it's just like, you know, with the YouTube sales, being prepared and having, you know, sometimes I think you're scheduling, you know, depending on how many sales are going on at any certain given time. You know, Michael and I have our sales right smack in the middle of the day at 1 o'clock on every Tuesday. And we, you know, we'll have 400 people at our sales at sometimes. So, I mean, it doesn't.
For over 2 years, though, that's the thing.
Over 2 years. Yeah.
For over
like
2 years,
show,
that day, that
it's the
time,
same thing.
for 2 years.
This day, this time for 3 years. Same thing.
Right.
Same
consistently.
thing.
Yep.
Did you mention getting the following from already, like putting videos out? Like we didn't start YouTube and start selling things.
No,
we were doing videos and putting valuable content out already. And so we had the subscriber base from that. It wasn't like pushing the cart before the horse kind of scenario.
Yeah. And I think that it helps.
Doing the sales before the videos is what you're saying.
Right. And I think a lot of people like to see the whole journey of something. They like to see you buy it. They like to see you're shopping and you're buying it and then you're selling it. And, you know, they like the whole journey of that object, I think helps. So if you're just doing sales, you're not including that whole journey of the certain items. People like to see the little journey that the item is going on.
So I wanted to put this up because I want to first and foremost say, unless you guys are accountants, be careful what you are saying. So Mark, Not Your Dad's CPA, teaches, and I've taken the course. I have a coupon for $50 off his course if you would like it. He teaches cash method. He teaches cash method and accrual, and I do cash. Cash is money in, money out. So that means that the inventory I buy now does count and it does come off. Accrual means you do not write off the amount of that item until it sells. Right. So be careful what you are saying. There are multiple ways to do it. Do not speak like you are an accountant unless you are one, and do not give other people advice if you're not sure of what you're talking about. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't want misinformation getting spread around and people hear one thing, because there's so many different ways. And with the cash method, everything you spend gets written off that month. Now, what's going to happen when I spend all this money and next month I don't? Guess what? My profit's going to be through the roof because I didn't have any money go out. But be careful, because there's a bunch of different ways to do things. That's why I wanted to make sure everybody knows we are not accountants.
No.
And even an accountant, like Jeffrey was saying, his accountant said he couldn't write off his roof. Even an accountant might not be right all the time. So make sure you find one that knows what they're talking about. That is super important. I don't know if are any of us really into like clothing and textiles. Marjorie's asking how to get into it. Oh. I'm not. I know.
I think that there are a ton of people doing that, and it is not a game that I want to play.
I just don't have any interest.
It is very oversaturated. I would agree with that.
And I have no interest either, literally.
No.
I would just say it's the same advice though at the end of the day.
Yeah,
buy what you like, you know what I mean? And if you're digging it, then you're going to have a passion for it, and that's going to translate. So there you go. Cha-ching. Cha-cha-ching. Cha-cha-ching. Can help you out with that one.
And if you do end up buying it,
that does tons of vintage clothes.
Well, that's how, what are those piles called? The piles that you don't list, death
piles.
Sell those houses.
Hoarder piles. I think you just called them hoarder piles. I have hoarder piles.
They're called money piles.
Sure. No,
that's how they have.
Those are money pits. Those are called money pits.
Because you think you're going to list it, but then you're never excited to list it because you never wanted to really buy it. You're like, oh, I think that'll make money, and then you
don't get excited about it anymore, and it sits on the shelf. Yeah. And something new and shiny.
So you hire someone to get excited about it and list it. That's my plan.
I do sell a lot of shoes and clothes online, and I focus more on vintage stuff. But I would say the biggest thing is I watch a lot of YouTube. That's how I learned about it. And so I sell a ton of used shoes, and I make sure I pay a little amount, make sure there's not a lot of work and clean them up. Know the brands that do sell well. Rally Roots was one that I learned about a lot of vintage clothing, a lot of shoes right off the bat. That kind of got my interest. And watch other YouTubers that just specialize in selling shoes and clothes. If that's something you want to get into, I will say it is kind of a pain in the butt because I have to measure out from the length of the shoulders, the length of the shirt, so there's more goes into it than me just grabbing an item, taking 3-4 photos of it. Yep. So it is more time consuming for me. We do sell in Poshmark as well. My fiance handles a lot of that stuff. So it is good if you have someone that does like that. But I really try to stick to older items. And once I do get big piles, sometimes I do sell it in bulk too. It's just easier if I want to just drop it off or get rid of it. So, but there is a lot of money to be made in there. They're just more long tail items. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Busy Girl wants to know what we use to edit our videos. What program?
I think we all do different things. I use Filmora.
Shotcut.
I use a free editing phone app.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a Mac. I use iMovie for mine.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I use KineMaster, KineMaster, however the heck you say it. And then I've been on some of my shorts, I've been using CapCut. Sunny told us about that because it does the auto caption. It auto writes your text out, which is really cool. And it's free. And then you can change the font and the colors. So if you want to do a short with your words, CapCut, yes. I just heard Sunny Las Vegas told me about it on our show a few weeks ago.
CapCut?
CapCut, CapCut. and you just hit text and then auto caption, and it will write all your words, and you can take out words you want, and you can change the font and the size, and it does it all. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, give some input here. Local Treasure says, I'm concerned people are putting too many eggs in the whatnot basket.
Listen, I think no matter what platform you sell on, you're going to get what you put into it. Sometimes if you're putting a lot of work into it to making sure that your sale is running and you're organized and it's running effectively and you're doing advertising for it, you'll be surprised at what you can do. If you are just not prepared, or you don't know, you don't have your shipping supplies, or you're late on shipping, or it can be problematic. I think that Whatnot allowed way too many resellers in at one time. I absolutely do. Do I think that they kind of like dangled a carrot in front of everybody and is like, oh, look how easy this is? Yeah, I do. And I think that a lot of people don't realize how much work does actually go into it. But I think that having a multiple platforms is key. You can, have eBay, you have Poshmark, you have Mercari, you have Whatnot, you have Amazon, you have eBay, you have YouTube. Why not try multiple categories? I like it, but I like YouTube and I like Whatnot. And I'm not really doing much on eBay right now because I don't have the time to do it. So I like Whatnot. I do. I like it. I do.
I do too.
But I'll prepare several hours. It takes me to prepare for a sale.
Oh, it takes us 4 to 5 hours per show.
Yeah. So it's not just pulling things out. I'm preparing for it. So yeah, you have to prepare for it.
Go ahead. It's okay.
He doesn't sell on Whatnot.
I don't sell on Whatnot.
He doesn't want to pay the fees.
I don't want to pay the 8% when I can sell it on YouTube like I've always done, and I don't see the point, honestly. So I don't do it.
I don't. I've tried to sell on Whatnot, to the whole. Honestly, Jeffrey, if you try it, the 8% is kind of worth it because you don't have to do the whole email and it really is. It is a cost of business, just like you pay a fee for selling on eBay, but it's because eBay is bringing you a global market. That is why you are paying for that service. You are paying for that service because there's a lot of the administrative stuff that third-party platforms take care of that I don't have. Somebody could show up to a sale, bid something up to $100, and then not pay on it. That doesn't happen. It can happen on eBay, but it doesn't happen on Whatnot because you pay for it right away. Yep. Do you know what I mean? So that it's almost like you're paying for the insurance in the ease of the platform. That said, there are a number of things that Whatnot would have to correct in order for me to feel and I'm speaking only for myself, is for me to feel comfortable or to feel that Whatnot is the kind of platform that aligns with what I want my brand to be associated with.
And I'm not a volume seller, so I'm also kind of speaking to the same point that I don't have another 30 items a week that I'm willing to throw on Whatnot and have another sale. And I'm also not willing to take my YouTube sale off because I have subscribers who would be.
Well, I'm not taking my YouTube sale off either.
Right. So I'm like, so for me personally, it doesn't make any sense because
you just want to have one.
Yeah, but you guys are doing good on YouTube sales. Like me, I was sucking on YouTube sales. I couldn't get buyers and I couldn't get good prices for my stuff on YouTube. So, and I didn't do it long enough and I didn't do it frequently enough, and that is what it is. But I also didn't like having to invoice and everything. So that's why I'm okay with Rod. Are you starting on Whatnot?
Yeah, I'll be starting in January. I'll do a lot of comic book content and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Nice.
I don't know what the
Whatnot has the audience for that.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. She talks about the concern with people putting too many eggs in the basket and Whatnot, but all it is just a live selling platform. That's where everyone's going. Poshmark has live selling now. eBay's going to eBay Live. Etsy's going to be doing it soon down the line.
Amazon.
Everyone's actually doing. So, it's Facebook Live, Instagram Live. So if you're saying too many people put their, it's just the hot new school that everyone's attention has on Whatnot right now. But I will tell you, more and more sellers on there, it is a good place to source. When I first got on, like, say, Mercari, in the very beginning, a lot of people went on Mercari. I sourced so much stuff off Mercari because there wasn't a lot of people on there. So with Whatnot, if the market's getting flooded, it's a great place to source because you're already getting items at a discount that you would most of the time getting items at a discount than you would on eBay or other platforms. So it might be a good idea for you to actually look at the reverse side of things and use it as a sourcing platform now.
Yeah, and I sold several pieces today that had room for $30 and $40 worth of profit on them. But I was happy with it because I got a good profit too. As far as me, I'm putting a lot of eggs in the Whatnot basket because Whatnot is giving me the most cash right now. And you know what? I'm going to put my attention where the money is. Now, does that mean if Whatnot dies that I could not shift and put it right back into eBay? No, I hired somebody. My eBay is still going to be growing at the same time my Whatnot is growing. However, and it's kind of scary, when I interviewed Lynn, because she left a full-time benefited job to come work for me. That scares the hell out of me. I will not lie. You know, that's not my mom. That's not my daughter. This is another person who now their livelihood is coming from me. But I told her, like, if I get kicked off of eBay or if Whatnot starts sucking, guess what? We'll put more time into Poshmark. We'll put more time into Etsy. I'll go start tagging the crap out of things when I don't do it right now. I will find a way to make money. No matter what happens, you know, and I think that's a big thing about being an entrepreneur and owning your own business is you're going to find the money. You know, like I said, my attention is going to Whatnot. That's where my most income is coming from. But I can easily switch if I need to. So am I going to invest more time in it? Yeah, I'm doing very, very well on there. I'm making more money than I'm making on eBay. But I hired someone so that my eBay doesn't suffer anymore. And that's when you have to decide at some point, either you have to drop something or you need to hire employees. You know, do you want to grow or do you want to say, wait, I can't do all this? And for me, I'm okay growing, and it's scary as hell, but I know that I can do it. And it's just pushing past that's the whole pushing past the fear thing to get better and to grow. I can do it. And with Lynn managing eBay should increase as well, with somebody putting all of their time towards eBay, which my eBay hasn't had in 3 years because I have a YouTube channel. So, you know, I think it should grow.
You're also set up to sell. So right now, if you lost Whatnot, you could just pivot to another platform and do your lives right there and just move forward with it.
Yeah. I mean, I could always do on eBay, like not on eBay, but I could do on YouTube if I wanted. I have 13,000 followers on Instagram. It's not a ton, but I could. There are so many options as an online seller that if you're not making money, you're not trying hard enough, or you're just buying stuff that people don't want. All right, Misty, I somehow skipped this. Are your glasses pair eyewear?
No, they're from Zlol.
What is that?
Zlol.
Zeelool. And I don't have a link or anything. I just really like their glasses.
We should get eyeglass links. We should totally
live long and
eyeglass
prosper.
links. I got them.
I need eyeglass links.
This company. Through another company I do.
I need to find some.
Vision.
Listen, I'm getting old. It's rough.
I just ordered 3 new pair.
I need to get more. I only have this one. Deborah wants to know, have any of you watched like YouTube tutorials? So about people to like help them with YouTube channels?
Nope. YouTube actually does make YouTube creator
they have creator
videos.
studio.
So YouTube has everybody can access the YouTube creator studio. But if you have an account, you can actually go into the creator studio and check out those videos. They're free. You don't have to be a content creator. Just as long as you have a YouTube channel, YouTube produces and puts those out a lot. They put out a lot.
Yeah, they do.
There's there's hundreds and thousands of videos on YouTube. Just Google or YouTube it. I mean,
that's how I grew. I mean, started finding out how to grow my channel was just watching tutorials on YouTube. But
Yeah.
search what you want to look. I mean, just like you said, there's thousands on there. You just have to find the creator that fits your style the best, or who you learn from the best, and go from there. So it's going to be different for what I like or what they may like. You have to find what's best for you. Just do a search and go through and see. Ask a question. The biggest thing is type in a question on YouTube what you're looking for, and it should pop up for you.
So I have two that I absolutely love and I think help my channel grow a lot. And they are brothers. It is D Nimmin and Nick Nimmin. They both give like tips on YouTube growing. That's not going to help you with editing. For editing, you're going to want to find your phone in whatever program you use. But as far as tips and tricks, like I subscribe to both of their channel memberships, and D Nimmin will go look at your YouTube and suggest different things for thumbnails, how to organize your channel. And I really feel it helped me from like 5,000 up to 20,000 subscribers. And then I got lucky with Teacups taking a ride on the wild side. But I had it all set up. I had all that set up. So I would check those two out. They're really good. But I agree with what everybody said, because you got to find somebody who fits your style. Like, I felt like I meshed more with D Nimmin, even though they're brothers, D Nimmin more. And he actually came in and gave me $100 super chat when I hit 10K.
Aww.
So it was really personalized. Even though he has like 250,000 subscribers, he took the time to come in my live and like congratulate me because he had helped me grow my channel. So I thought that was pretty cool. Eileen asked, will you ever make a video and review other resellers' eBay store? I've not seen that on YouTube. So I do that, but you have to pay $1.99 a month. I do it once a month, and I do it for everybody who asks. I have not gotten to the point where I cannot. We do it the second Thursday of every month. And when you join the $1.99, you can watch all of them from the past 3 years. So you will have hundreds of hours of videos to watch. And that's my lowest channel membership, $1.99. This was like really delayed because I didn't get very far in the questions. So do you guys want to answer George and tell him why?
He's just visiting.
Just getting in her hole. No,
It had to come back up.
yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah, I'm here in Indiana, and we're gonna go shopping tomorrow, get some content, and
Yeah.
that's it.
All right,
Happy
we are just
day
going to
tomorrow.
take like one or two more questions. Let me see. Let's do Miss Cece's. What is your favorite type of place to source from? Malls, garage sales, auctions, antique stores, or flea markets?
Estate sales.
I like
Which wasn't on your
antique stores and flea markets.
Antique mall, for sure.
Garage sales and yard sales, because you get the biggest return on your investment.
And I say auctions for the same reason. I get the biggest return on my.
All
All of us
different.
just told you a different thing.
Right.
You got to find what works for you. You got to find what works for you.
every area.
I'm going to let you guys say this since we have an audience of 500. If you want to go ahead and hear as well, so people know.
No, Vintage Rescue Squad, we took a month off, and we had every intention on restructuring it and doing it, the way we had talked about before. But we've really enjoyed having our evenings back for us. And it's just trying to just refocus and I don't want to work in the evenings. I want to spend the evenings with my husband. And, Michael is, he wants his evenings back. That's all it is. It's just, we just want, we like having Monday nights off. That's basically what it boils down to. Just freeing up that evening for us personally.
Well,
All right,
and you know what? Here,
Oh, go ahead, Michael. No,
no,
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say I'll get like a little deep without getting all the way underneath it. But at the end of the day, look, we all only got one life to live. And at the end of the day, at the end of that final day, I can't help but think I'm not going to be wishing that we did one more episode of Vintage Rescue Squad. I don't want that final day to be full of regret of the things that I really missed out on life. And it's not a dollar bill that I'm going to regret at the end. I would like to think it's not going to be a dollar bill that I regret. It's not going to be the hustle. Oh, I wished I had sold that for more, or if I had only. It's going to be the people, the experiences that I shared with them, and the experiences that I didn't share with them. So that's really the priority, and that's that's why we're not doing it. Time.
It's just
A
time.
reinvestment. It's an investment, but it's a different kind of investment, one that's not about money.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer Miss Janice real quick, and then I'll let everybody say goodbye. Miss Janice said, if you break something immediately after posting it, I have done that, Miss Janice, and you immediately cancel. Is that a ding? No, it is not. It's only a ding if you cancel it after somebody buys it. So if you break it before somebody bought it, then it's not going to count against you, and you will not have any issues at all. So we have over 500 people here. I want to say again, in case you weren't here in the beginning and we did not get through many questions tonight, Julian has stepped down as co-host. Him and his wife are traveling. They have a lot going on. Kayla just quit her job, so they have this new freedom of both being full-time. So Julian has stepped down. I did not fire him, Scott. I saw your comment. And Rod Picking and Punching has graciously agreed to step in for him. So he will be my new co-host. So if you don't know him, definitely go check out his channel. He will be here every Tuesday with us. And yeah, so no issue, no drama. Julian and I chat today. we are perfectly good. So no drama, no nothing. But
So
it was
says.
his time. And my first two show co-hosts, like they only lasted 5 months. So Julian lasted like 5 times as long as they did. And there were 2 of them. So yeah. All right. I'm going to let Misty, Jeffrey, tell about your channel too, since you've been here half the show. I'm going to tell them what you got going on. Here you go. Both of you. You're big.
Well, I have Michael, Cult of Vintage. We have live sales every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. I have 2 channels. One is just ThrifterJunkerVintageHunter. My live selling channel is ThrifterJunkerVintageHunter Live. And I do sell on Whatnot. I'm having a Whatnot sale on Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern. My Whatnot name is Thrifter Misty. And Jeffrey?
Yeah, Real Nifty Vintage on YouTube, and I have Real Nifty Vintage Live also on YouTube. Just Jack. That's a separate channel. And then my third channel under my name, Jeffrey Thomason, is vlogs and travel and apparently singing videos that people
money for.
So
Your sale.
Oh, my sale is on Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Central. It's like 2.5 hours, 30 items or so. Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah,
that's all.
Perfect. Here's Michael.
Oh, what am I doing?
Tell them about your channel and when your sale is.
Oh, okay. So again, totally went blank. Michael Todd, the Cult of Vintage. As Misty said, we do have a weekly sale Tuesdays at 1 p.m. And I will have a sale every week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, back on the Cult of Vintage. And yeah, all vintage antiques.
All right, here is Rod.
So I have a YouTube channel, Picking and Punching. If you guys like to go to yard sales and flea markets, I wear a GoPro and I go out and I film all my finds and I show you guys what is valuable and what to look for. So great information there. You're going to also find me on Instagram, Picking and Punching. Send me a message. I answer every single message. You guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I'm looking forward to being here. And I was going to tell everyone that I beat him in a wrestling match. So I got this new co-host position, but Kat took my thunder there. So we'll just go with he stepped down. All right.
The real truth comes out. I will have an all sterling silver sale. I've been doing all sterling on Wednesdays. So tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Saturday is my really big vintage timeless classic whatnot event from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And Richard just put it up here. I am giving away over $600 in jewelry. 2 $250 Miriam Haskell 3-piece sets and a really nice Lisner, a Coro. They are all named pieces, sterling antique earrings. So I'm giving away $600 and I have multiple pieces that are worth $200, $300, $400 in there that I'll probably start at about 20. Some of them I'm starting a little higher, but there are some amazing Navajo and Native American pieces. I will have 120 pieces on Saturday at 5 Eastern. I found some amazing stuff. So Thank you all for coming. Misty, Michael, Jeffrey, we got a free
Thank
surprise
you.
guest.
Thank you,
Rod,
Kat.
thank you. Welcome. Rod's first show officially as my co-host.
Well,
He will be
guys.
here. Oh, let me see. Hold on. I always forget to look at who's on next week. Why am I so bad about that? Next week is Lisette and ATL Flippers, which is fun. Which Rod, I met Lisette in person finally at Prison to Profit convention, which is where I met Rod in person in South Carolina. And also ATL Flippers were there. So all four of us have met in person that will be on the panel next week. So we will see you guys next week. Thank you for coming. Bye for now.
Thank you.